Good morning, CLC, and welcome to another daily devotion. We are in 1 Corinthians chapter 9 today, and so what we're really going to look at is just all of these great things that Paul is teaching us about being a disciple of Christ, about sharing the gospel, about how we go about it, and all that it's really called us to do. And so in this chapter, we really look at the first part. He's just asking us all these questions. He's asking us, am I not free? Am I not an apostle? Have I not seen Jesus our Lord? Are you not my work in the Lord? If I am not an apostle to others, at least I am to you, for you are the seal of my apostleship to the Lord. My defense is those who examine me is this: do we not have the right to eat and drink? Do we not have the right to be accompanied by a Christian wife like the other apostles, the Lord's brothers, and Cephas? Or do Barnabas and I alone have the right to refrain from working? Whoever goes to war at his own expense? Who plants a vineyard and does not eat its fruit? Or who shepherds a flock and does not drink the milk from the flocks? Am I saying this from a human perspective? Doesn't the law also say the same thing? For it is written in the law of Moses, do not muzzle an ox while it treads out grain. Is God really concerned with oxen? Or isn't he really saying it for us? Yes, this is written for us, because he who plows ought to plow in hope, and he who threshes should do so in hope of sharing the crop. If we have sown spiritual gifts for you, is it too much that we reap the material benefits from you? If others have this right to receive benefits from you, don't we have even more? So he's really been telling all these people, I have sown these seeds in you. I want to make sure that you're going to go do the work that we have been called to do, to go out in the world and preach the gospel. He's saying, so go and do it. Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you going out? Why aren't you just sitting at home watching TV when your next door neighbor they're hurting? They're crying out. They're crying out for help. Why aren't you doing something about it? And he's really trying to get these people fired up about the gospel, about going and doing something and proclaiming to the world that Jesus Christ loves them. He died for their sins, and they shouldn't be keeping all this hidden. They shouldn't be keeping it all together. He goes on to say, however, we have not made use of this right. Instead, we endure everything so that we will not hinder the gospel of Christ. Don't you know that those who perform the temple services eat the food from the temple, and those who serve at the altar share in the offerings of the altar? In the same way, the Lord has commanded that those who preach the gospel should earn their living by the gospel. He's talking about the pastors, making sure that those of us that serve in the church, that work in the church, that preach the gospel, that we preach the gospel, we live it accordingly, and that we continue to do the work that we have been called to do. And it says, but I've used none of these rights, and I have not written this to make it happen that way for me. For it would be better for me to die than for anyone to deprive me of that boast. For if I preach the gospel, I have no reason to boast, because an obligation is placed on me, and woe to me if I do not preach the gospel. For I do this willingly. I have a reward, but if unwillingly, I am entrusted with a stewardship. What then is my reward? To preach the gospel and offer it free of charge, and not make full use of my authority in the gospel. So he's really setting his own mind at ease right now. He's really saying, I've been given this job by God. If I don't do it, then I'm going to live with that regret for the rest of my life. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit idly by and let the gospel go unpreached. This is my burden to bear. This is the things that I'm going to do. Have you ever been given a task by God, or you feel this strange sensation that you're supposed to do something, and if you don't do it, then you feel guilty about it for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, even a month? Like, you're called and you're told, hey, my coworker is sick, can you cover this shift? Later to come out, find out their family, there was a car accident, or their loved one is sick in the hospital with a disease. Had you not known that and you had taken their shifts, they wouldn't have been there to be a part of that, to be with their family. There are so many different things that go about if we don't do what we're called to do. So he goes on to say, although I'm a free man and not anyone's slave, I have made myself a slave for everyone in order to win more people. To the Jews, I became like a Jew to win Jews. To those under the law, like one under the law, though myself I am not under the law. So he's talking about the law of man, not the law of God right now. Though I am not under the law, to win those under the law. To those who are without the law, like one without the law, not being without God's law, but within Christ's law, to win those without the law. To the weak I became weak, in order to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that I may be every possible means to save some. Now I do this because of the gospel, so that I may become a partner in its benefits. So he's going to go say, I'm going to reach these people, and I'm going to reach them how they are. Now, this isn't saying he's like, oh, for the drunks I became the drunk, for the gluttons I became gluttonous. No. He made sure to go into the people, into their culture, to really see things through their lifestyles, through their eyes, and really get to know them one-on-one. See their struggles, see the things that they're learning, see the things that they're doing, and reach them as they are. Rather than bringing them to his world, he went to theirs. And it says, don't you know that the runners in a stadium all race, but only one receives the prize? Run in such a way to win the prize. Now everyone who competes exercises self-control in everything. However, they do it to receive a crown that will fade away. But we will do it to receive a crown that will never fade away. Therefore, do not run like anyone who aimlessly, or box like one beating in the air. Instead, I discipline my body and bring it under strict control, so that after preaching it to others, I myself might not be disqualified. So he's going to say, run the race. Do what God has called you to do. And make sure that you do it wholeheartedly. Don't do it just out of, oh, I'm doing this because I have to. No, do it willingly. Do it with a happy heart. Do the things that God has called you to do, and he will bless you with a crown in heaven, not a crown on earth that's going to fade away. We want to say thank you so much for joining us for today's devotion. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless you.